All right. Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your girl Pam with 2200 Taps. Hey, listen, my next guest. Oh man, my next guest. I was actually a guest on his show, him and his partner's show. We were actually the guy. There's so many Johns, and I don't want to butcher this, right? My next guest is John Larocchia. He just kind of schooled me, right, John?
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Larocchia. I
I
was
like the
gonna
way you did a little
butcher
key.
that.
The
Oh,
Rokia. The
Larocchia.
Rokia. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was introduced to him with our buddy John Salerno, and he has a foundation and a radio show now for Laughter Saves Lives. And his partner's name, his co-host is John Santo. So there are a ton of Johns, and I'm looking at a cheat sheet because I got to make sure I'm saying his last name correctly, talking to the right John, who I know I'm talking to. And I got to tell you, man, I am more excited about you being on today.
Oh no.
Oh man,
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
I,
Now the pressure's on.
no. I think I'm more excited because I was able to come on y'all's show, and thank you again for having me. That was a really cool episode. And
Sure,
oh
sure.
man, just having you here and knowing your background, which we're going to get into here in a second, it's an honor, man. It's an honor to have people like you
Ah,
that, all my guests are amazing. I say that I don't have a favorite guest or a favorite episode. Just knowing like the significance of what you went through and pretty much what's now written in history books, to say the least. Like
amazing.
we all lived,
Amazing that it's
right? I feel old when I say
yeah.
that, but I
'Cause
mean,
my daughter's 24 in nursing school. She was one on 9/11.
she was
One.
one.
She doesn't remember anything.
It's probably not a bad thing, man. She was
That's crazy.
one. Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I had one of my old guests was Sam Horwitz. She was a U.S. Secret Service agent who was
Yes, I
there
know
on
Sam.
9/11. Yeah,
Yep.
Sam is incredible.
Yes.
And now I've got you, and it's like, man, these people that like you, and I got another buddy that was there during the Oklahoma City bombing, right? So
Mm.
people that are still around for such significant events that people know worldwide. That's an honor, man, to have people like you here. So thank you so much for being here today.
It is my pleasure, and thank you for having me. Most people won't let me in the door, so this is very nice.
I mean,
And I,
technically, I didn't let you in the door because you're not where I'm at recording, but no, distance is
but
separating us. Otherwise, I would have totally had you here.
I would
Um,
have loved to have been there.
yeah, you are you in Queens or are you in Long Island?
I'm in Long Island, as they say. Long Island.
Long Island.
It's not Long Island, it's Long Island.
I can't say
Um,
that. Long Island.
yeah, it's I'm about with no traffic, maybe a half hour from the city line. With normal traffic, 3.5 hours.
Oh
You know
my
how the
God.
traffic is. But yeah, I'm out in Long Island in Nassau County.
Well, thank you for being here. Well, let's jump in. I'd like to kind of backtrack a little bit. Like, were you born and raised on the East Coast, New England? You a New Yorker?
I am a New York City boy through and through. I um I was born in Queens, which is one of the five boroughs of New York City.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't get New York City is not Manhattan. New York City is the Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island, right? Manhattan, did I leave one out? Whatever. Brooklyn, yeah, whatever. It's the five boroughs. So I grew up in Queens, Middle Village, New York, my little town, as I say, from the song. Um, and then I moved to Long Island pretty much after I got married. My wife was from Long Island. So I've been out in Long Island, I don't know, 35 years, 35, something like that.
Wow. So you grew up there. What was that like? Just because before we get into like your profession and what led you into firefighting, as a little boy growing up in it's not really New England. It's might as well be New England, but it's right there on the border.
It was,
Those winters, those the like
I
coming to
grew up
America, these movies, like what was that like growing up? It
in New
just
York, in New
people,
York City. It
yeah.
was, first of all, you don't know any different, right? You're a little kid. Everybody lives on top of each other in Queens. My house was attached on both sides,
Oh, gee.
neighbors. Um, everybody was pretty close. You knew everybody. And what was really cool about my situation is my dad, my grandfather, and my uncle owned the luncheonette in Middle Village, a few blocks from my house. So everybody knew my family. My great uncle owned the barbershop. So everybody knew Larocchia's luncheonette. Everybody knew. So it was a great childhood. We had no money. My dad ultimately worked two jobs. We didn't know any different. I was able to go up to my candy store. My grandmother would say, "Take some candy before you leave." She'd send me in the back, give me some meatballs when the special. Is that a better childhood than that? You know, we didn't go on fancy vacations or anything like that. But my childhood was awesome, and always watching the fire truck, which was the three blocks away from my house, go down Metropolitan Avenue, and never thinking that I was ever going to be a firefighter. Nobody in my family was firefighters. Nobody. And as I got older, I realized I was afraid of heights, really not too good with smoke, and not too brave. Really wasn't too brave. So it was interesting when somebody suggested, hey, you don't know what you want to do with your life. I had an accounting degree, went to Queens College, never went away to school, never went away to camp, a real mama's boy. You should become a firefighter. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? And but I accepted the challenge of taking the test.
You didn't know what you were getting yourself into.
I didn't want to be, but I was gonna pass this test. And as I
Oh.
graduated college and bounced from job to job, and then I passed the test, I got a high score, and then a year or two later, they're calling me going, "Hey, you want to take the psychological?" I go, "For what? For the fight?" Holy crap. Oh yeah, I take the psychological. Then I took the psychological, I passed that, and then I get the call. You're gonna start the fire academy. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And then it was like, well, I don't know what I want to do. You know what? I'll go through the fire academy and I'll take the job for a year until I decide.
So you really had no clue. Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. I knew nobody on the job. The only thing I knew, the only thing I knew is every firefighter I spoke to, because anytime I saw a firefighter, once I started getting close, I'd say, "Hey, bro, what do you think of the job? You like the job?" And I can't remember one guy not saying, "I love it." Not I like it, I love it. I'm like, what's wrong with these guys?
They
Going
love
into
it.
fires and going up 8 stories. What the? No, I'm not doing that. And going through the fire academy for a mama's boy who never went to camp or school, never
Oh.
went to the military, right? Was a challenge
Oh.
for me. And the first day in the fire academy, they made us climb ladders.
Hmm.
I think they were looking for the people afraid of heights, right?
Hmm.
It took me forever to climb the aerial ladder. And they're screaming at me, and they're yelling, "Hey, there's a lady hanging out the building, Larocchia. Move faster, move." Never mind, she jumped. So then I got down the first day, and they said, you have 10 minutes to eat your lunch every day. You're out here climbing ladders. Every day, you're out here climbing ladders. And by the end of the fire camp, I wasn't the fastest, but I wasn't the slowest anymore.
But you're getting up there.
And that for me, and then they put me in a tower ladder, which they didn't have to. They could have put me in an engine company. I stretched the hose line, right? No, they put me in the tallest tower ladder in the city, I think on purpose,
What?
you know, because they're giving out these climbing, and they go, "Larocchia, ladder 12, 95-foot tower ladder." And they go, "What are you turning green? What's wrong? You got a problem, Larocchia?" "No, sir, no, sir." So anytime I had to go up in the tower ladder, like somebody had to go up, even if it was a drill, I didn't want the guys to know I was afraid of heights. So like an idiot, I'd go, I'll go up there. And I'm like, what are you doing, right? And then when they found out I was afraid of heights, the guys would drop the bucket. They would let it, when I was up
Oh,
there, they would
Jesus.
drop
They
it a bit.
mess with you, jerks.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the beauty of the job.
That's a
That,
camaraderie that
that was
they
the
don't talk
beauty of
about.
the job. There's nothing that's sacred. We had a guy's house burned down, and he had to live in a trailer on his front lawn. And day one, everybody was like, "What can we do? What can we do?" By day three, there were pictures of trailers all over his locker. Trailers. The poor guy lost his home. Trailers. Yeah.
That's that camaraderie that you miss, you know?
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
get
yeah.
people.
I was the comic in the firehouse. Forget it. I got hammered.
Oh my
I got
gosh.
hammered constantly. And people would say to me, "Oh boy, stand-up comedy. How do you handle the hecklers?" I go, "You kidding? You've never been in a firehouse kitchen." I go, "I can handle any heckler. No heckler has ever got the best of me because I got hammered at the firehouse."
Like give me like one like just one story that comes to mind if you're like,
Oh,
oh man, this was a good one. We
oh
all
man.
have them.
Well, I mean, just on a regular basis, you know, anything I would say, oh, that's you think that's funny or whatever. So they were always on top of me. So what I did at the firehouse, believe it or not, most times I wasn't the funny guy because I wanted him to know that I was serious about the job. Everybody else was pretty funny. There was a lot of guys who were funny, but they weren't comics. So ultimately, I told him, I said, listen, I'm quiet around here, but I listen to everything you say and I use it on stage and I get paid for it. I steal your material, so it was just, it was a good time. The guys
Oh,
believed me, came to shows and after 9/11, we lost 19 in my house, guys that was on a softball team would party with Christmas parties, you know, picnics, and now they're gone. They're all gone. It's like it was just surreal coming into the firehouse on 9/12, 9/13, 9/14, going to work after however much time they weren't coming back. Maybe you had some hope for a week, 2 weeks. You knew they weren't coming back. And you're walking in those doors, um, and it was a whole different life. It was a
yeah.
whole different feel. It wasn't the fun firehouse anymore.
So how many years had you been part of the fire department before 9/11?
I
Before
got
that day
on
happened?
July 2008. So what is that, 13 years roughly? A little more than 13, right? July, if you do your math.
That's when you got out, right?
No,
Or
what
we're
am I
talking
doing?
about
13. July 2008 is when I got out. Is
so
that what
before
was the
but
question you just asked me? When?
before 9/11, how many years had you already had in? Like were you still a
I
rookie?
got to
Were
go
you
backwards. 87. July of 87 is when
89,
I got on. July
20,
87, 87. Yeah, July.
24-ish, 24
So I
years
did
on
I did
the
21 years on the job.
yeah.
And I always tell people, um, I think I would have done another 5 years if it wasn't for 9/11.
Mm,
I was not ready to retire financially. Um, didn't have a great plan. I was just done. I was just done and hoped that it would work out. And I lucked out because I started teaching for the International Association of Firefighters, then for Louisiana State University, nationally, and I had a little niche there where I was teaching classes on the side, and producing comedy shows.
mhm.
I was producing comedy shows, and then at one point it was like, well, never forget, never forget, never forget. That's nice to say. And I didn't look at anybody else. I just looked in the mirror and I said, what are you going to do? It's enough with, I'm never going to forget these guys. Do something.
Do something.
So I decided to remember them through laughter because they made me laugh. These guys, when it's all said and done, these guys were regular guys who busted my chops, made me laugh. Why not remember them through laughter? So I started the Laughter Saves Lives Foundation and Comedy Tour, and we did shows. It was like threefold. We make people laugh as a way to remember them. We
Mm.
may not raise money for a charity that night or very little, but we're on stage and I go, tonight we're laughing in memory of my guys, right? Don't beat them over the head with 9/11. I don't tell any long stories. It's like tonight we're doing this in memory of my guys. And then I close the show usually with a joke, a punchline that Tommy Gardner, my best friend, wrote for me. And if I'm doing an extended set, I always end my show with it. And I say to the audience, I'll do this joke until I die. This is in memory of my guys. And then I always say something like, I don't want it to be overly heavy. So I'll say, when I'm on stage, I always hear Tommy talking to me. And I go, tonight, I hear him saying, how many years since 9/11, you're doing a show in the back of a diner, you still suck. And it's a way to remember the guys, yet get a little laugh
Yeah.
also, because I don't want to be overly heavy. It's a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's a comedy show.
No, and I appreciate that. And sometimes you just need to do that. Even when you're on calls. Even when it's not
Oh,
nine
yeah.
eleven and you're on a call and it's that dark humor. Sometimes you just need something to not feel what
Right,
you're feeling, right?
right,
But that's not what this is. This is actually really truly trying to bring laughter for healing, and some other cool things that we're going to talk about it here in a little bit. But I wanted to back up a little bit on and talk about within, within reason and however you want to share it in whatever capacity.
right.
I mean, the day of 9/11. I mean,
Yeah,
you,
I don't tell my story often. I was asked to do it at an event for a Veterans Day, and there was three really heavy duty stories. Somebody was
yeah,
trapped, somebody got revived, somebody went into the Marines after,
I
and
hear
I
that a
got
lot.
there
Yeah.
and I grabbed the mic and I start working the room. I'm getting laughs, but I told my story, you know, and I think that's my way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Because at times I just don't want to go back there. I don't like to wear my uniform. It's a death suit to me. It's a funeral after funeral after funeral suit. And
Mm,
I have a hard time putting it on. Since my mom passed away 10 years ago, she loved seeing me in it. So I had a
mm,
reason to put it on. Since then, I've worn it on 9/11, Um, and that's another thing with 9/11. I never know what I'm going to do on 9/11 usually.
yeah.
The calendar changes, and all of a sudden you feel the weight of 9/11 on your shoulders, and it's like a panic. Like, what's the right thing to do? What should I do for myself? And I work myself up. My wife every year she goes,
Yeah.
what are you doing? But yeah, I was home on 9/11 with my 1-year-old daughter. I rode my other two kids to school on the bikes. And then when I came home, I saw my neighbor told me to turn on the TV. A plane hit the World Trade Center. So like a lot of people, I just thought, oh, some pilot who had an accident, had a heart attack and hit the building or something like that. So I turned it on and I saw the second plane hit and I go, no, this is bad. So I dropped the baby off, Olivia off at my neighbor, and I headed in. I stopped at Trader Joe's, got some snacks. I don't know, I'm saying I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to be trapped. Who's got it in? I buy all these snacks. Don't even buy them. I go into Trader Joe's, say, "Hey, I'm a city firefighter heading in." I bought it, and they threw them in a bag, and they go, go. Don't worry about it. And I got to my firehouse in
Mm,
Queens, and there was already two waves of firefighters that left my firehouse. The original response where uh, everybody was lost. Everybody that responded, the guys that were getting off duty that jumped back on, 11 guys assigned to the hazmat unit, 19 in the house. And I was supposed to be one of those guys, but I had nobody to watch my daughter that day because my wife was a nurse. She couldn't switch, so I switched, um, and I ended up having off.
well,
And in fact, they sent us for medicals that day. So all the guys that were supposed to be working were off, and all the guys that worked on overtime were lost. So everybody that replaced us was lost. But even some of the guys that went to the medical in Brooklyn after the first plane hit, got a vehicle or whatever, went over the Brooklyn Bridge, and a few of them were lost. I
mm,
responded in. I got down there after both buildings were down because I went to my firehouse first and got into a police horse van about 20 blocks up from the World Trade Center. People were coming up, covered with, whatever. And the chief said, you guys are not going anywhere. We lost the command post. We lost a lot of guys. We don't know what's going on until we establish a new command post. We want everybody to stay here. We're
mhm,
setting you up with teams. And I was working with guys who knew my unit was there. The last transmission we heard months later, they were on the 45th floor and they knew things were going bad and they went up. They were on the 45th floor, they knew things were going bad and they went up. We saw them in the lobby when people were jumping. You heard people hitting the overhang, and initially you were like, "What's that noise?" And you could see the look on their face. Dennis Carey, one of the bravest guys I ever knew, the panic and look on his face, and they went up. And I always say, if they could do that, right? I have days with the foundation, I'm trying to do stuff, and I'm like, ah, and then I look at the writing list back on the wall, right in the corner there, and I go, shoot, they did that. I can do this, you know. So we hopped into the police force van. We told the chief we're going. Tony Musafidi, the guy I work with, said, Chief, we're going. He goes, guys, you go down there, you're getting fired. And he said, Chief, we got guys down there, fire us, we're going. And we hopped in a police horse van. Weirdest thing, in there, dressed all in white, was my old buddy from my old firehouse in Manhattan, Vinny Plover. And he goes, Johnny, he gives me a hug. I go, Vinny, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing a sheetrock job on the side of Manhattan, you know? And some pizzeria guy, these are the little things you remember, handed us like three pizzas. Guys, eat something, you know? So we're eating pizza on the way down in the police horse van. We get dropped off in front of City Hall. It is dark. It is now, I got to estimate, buildings came down, let's say about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It is dark. It is like nighttime almost.
Mm,
And the smoke, and we have respirators. There's no SCBA's left.
mm,
And I remember the drugstores put all their eye wash in the middle of the street before they evacuated. So, you see firefighters, cops, they're washing their eyes out in the middle of the street. And we turned the corner, and I had just been down to the World Trade Center a few days before. And I'm looking and I'm going, what is this a movie? Like in your head, you're going, this can't be. Where's the Trade Center? You know? And as we got closer and closer, started to circle, do what we do, then you start to dig. And if you think about a week or two later, three later, they had like cranes in there, right? They were
mm,
digging with our hands. And and after the first 2 or 3 days, I think it was more psychological. Like you got to do something. You got to do something. Some guys went into voids, whatever, but they didn't find really, I don't think anybody alive after the first day or two, but digging, digging, digging. And you remember the craziest things. I got sent up to the community college. They were bringing in teams from around the country, right? What do you call it? Teams? What's the rescue team? FEMA
oh,
teams.
FEMA.
So I think it was the community college, Manhattan Community College. They were going to set up a staging area for the FEMA teams there. So the hazmat chief called us and said, "Guys, I need your help setting this up. Get off the pile, come up here." So we're helping him out. And that night, I had MREs for dinner. The next day on the pile, one of the finest restaurants in Manhattan pulled up with a van and gave me a stuffed pork chop. MRE the night before, stuffed pork chop, sitting on a truck, and it's just such a weird, they were throwing McDonald's hamburgers up there and stuff. It was just a weird 2 days. And I remember the sunlight the next morning, kind of getting through when the wind blew a certain way, hit you in the face. And it almost felt like this is one of the most horrible things that's ever going to happen. Yet it's going to be okay. We're going to get through it.
Mm,
We're going to get through it. Not that it's going to be okay what happened, but there's that ray of sunlight saying, you know what? You can do this. You can get through this. Because again, look back 5 years. I was too brave. I wasn't the guy that you would think this guy's going to be a firefighter. Now I'm at one of the biggest disasters ever,
mm.
you know? Um, and it was just a really strange time.
You brought up a few points I kind of want to touch on
Sure.
because it's like I was a first responder and it's something that and it wasn't to the extent that you went through, right? Like I have my own story and this is insane. This is just 9/11 was just an insane time. Uh, but like you had stated, people brought you pizza. People left eye wash bottles. People brought you food. And I say that because recently, we lost our friends in the Texas floods,
That's right.
John and Tanya. And
Yes, yes.
when I went down there to help, I have a family member with a Blanco River Meat Company down here in Texas. where it was the day after the flood, and he told his wife, he's like, I feel like I need to do something. And she's like, well, you have a big old barbecue smoker. Why don't you take it down there and see if you can cook for these guys and girls? And he didn't know where to start, had very little money in his pocket, and between the community and he has a really good following, Texas Grill Master on Instagram. He asked for help, and people donated money for him to cook for first responders. And the first thing that one of the first things he said was like, I don't want to give cold sandwiches to these guys.
Nice.
I want them to have a warm meal because
That's nice.
after going through a
Yeah,
day of, you know what it is. It's like, man, as a first responder, I can tell you, if we don't have to worry about food, that's one less thing we got to worry about. And then when
right.
it comes to food, just feed us.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so cool
and
that,
it was just cool.
it,
You just reminded me of that.
and I guarantee you that he got more out of it than they did.
He did, him and the crew and between people volunteering, he spent 21 days in Center Point cooking, went home for a few days and got a call back like, hey, Art, we want you back. Can you come to Hunt, Texas? One of the most catastrophically hit
Yeah,
places. He spent another 21 days.
awesome.
He just finished up last week, a total of like 42 days cooking for people.
I want to meet this guy. I want to meet him. I
I'll
want to
put
get.
it, dude, I'll put his
Yeah,
handle if you want to interview him.
yeah, definitely.
This guy,
No, those are special. Those are special people.
and here's the thing, man. He's been on TV shows like Beat Bobby Flay, like the grill, like Myron Mix, all those pitmasters are he's buddies with.
And you
And
know what's so much fun about that?
he
That's
just
not what he wanted out of it.
no,
He
he
didn't
wanted
want to
nothing
be
out
an
of it.
actor or anything that
Mm-mm.
got to get on these shows. And don't get me wrong, he should do every one of them and enjoy it and have fun. He's earned it, you know. But those kind of people are so special. I always say when I meet somebody and I don't need anything from them and they don't need anything from me, and I just have a nice conversation and meet somebody new, you walk away from that and you're like, that was
You'll love
really,
him.
you know, we do comedy shows at the veterans hospitals, free shows
I love that.
at the veterans hospitals. Half of these guys, they can't hear us. They fall asleep.
Hmm.
They're on medications, whatever. But we're there. And you'll always get one, two of them come up to me and say, thanks for not forgetting us.
Yeah.
And I'll always tell the comics will call me and go, I want to work for you. I want to do a show for you. Okay, you're doing the veterans hospital first. That's the first show you're doing for me. And one of the hospitals, they don't have the staff. We have to go up to the rooms. And the St. Albans Hospital in Queens is not the nicest hospital.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame. It was built in the freaking 40s or 50s. Um,
Mm.
and when you get those guys and you wheel them down and they start talking to you and they're telling you their story, you know, I've had comics come up to me and go, I've been doing comedy 30 years. That was the best day of comedy I ever had. And it wasn't the show because the show sucks. Because you're not getting laughs, really. Maybe some
Yeah.
of the staff, whatever. But the feeling that you get that you went and you
And you
took
helped.
time, because we only have so much time, right? We
Yeah.
all write our checks, we all make the, but when you take your time and you do something, it's awesome. And knowing that I'm doing this as a way to remember my guys
Yeah.
is even better. Is
I
even
love
better.
I love that. You just, it's you're either born with it or you're not, and
Yeah, you know, I'm not patting myself on the back. But I'm telling you, what I get out of it is amazing. If you see the check I have behind me, the big check, you see the big check there,
hmm
right?
I see it.
People ask me sometimes, "Hey, how do they cash that big check, John?" And I'll get every once in a while I'll get somebody and I'll go, "Do you ever go to the bank and you look at the teller all the way to the right? What do you mean?" I go, "They have a really big drawer where they can fit the big check." Always.
Shut up.
And they're like, really? No, you idiot.
No.
Um, Billy Moon Foundation. Billy Moon, FDNY, died a few years ago in a training accident. Two
Mm,
young children, donated his organs, saved five lives after he died.
wow.
His wife started the Billy Moon Foundation, where she raises money to assist now others who are in the organ donation
Wow.
process.
Yeah. Wow.
So we went, we did a comedy night. She was in the audience. She was laughing.
Mm,
If that was the only thing I got out of that night,
it's
home
worth
run.
it.
If we didn't raise a dime, home run, right? we don't raise usually a whole lot of money. I gave her a check of 1,100. We raised some money for Paws of War. They do this stuff with the doggies, right? With post-traumatic stress.
Mm.
We raised some money for Laughter Saves Lives. I had some sponsors, thank God. Great night, packed. People laughed. Had her in there. Had a few other. I think I had one or two other FDNY wives that lost people either on 9/11 or after 9/11.
Mhm.
Um, I walked away from that night. 24,000 steps I had, and I didn't exercise that day.
That's amazing.
Oh my God, I was exhausted. I had help. I had help, but I love before and after the show more than the show. I love schmoozing with the people,
Yeah.
laughing before. I had one of my chiefs there. He's a big supporter, laughing with him.
Mhm.
It was a great night. It was a great night.
Oh man, I love that for you. Um, well, before we get too far off track, I
Oh,
want to pull it back in. No, no, this is awesome, man. Thank you. Special conversations. I love them. Uh, so you said you were down there at Ground Zero. You saw the sunlight coming in. What did, we don't have to go into detail, nothing like that, but kind of like, okay, now it happened. Now we have to clean up. Like then what did the rest of the weeks, months, and
it was different.
and
It
so
was
far look?
different. It was different for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Us in the FDNY hazmat unit, we lost a third of the unit. And you can't train a hazmat guy in a month. And the engine companies that lost engine men, well, they could pull a guy from the Bronx to work in the Queens company. They can move them around. They're trained to be an engine guy. You're trained to be a truck guy. Hazmat, we had to work every other day, 24 on, 24 off. Now, FDNY doesn't work more than 24.
Mhm.
As I toured around the country, some teams can work, 48. Um, the reason I guess is because we can be really busy and it's dangerous to work, that long. So we were working 24 on, 24 off. At times we were working 2 or 3 days in a row because we couldn't get somebody and the officers stopped asking. They didn't
Mhm.
want to know. Well, they counted one, two, three. We had seven guys plus the officer. Seven today. All right. So and then one guy or two was always at the counseling unit, getting mental, counseling or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, so I remember day two. I only was down there day one, the 11th, and day two, and one other day I think. All the other days they told me I either had to work, I was going to funerals, or go home to your family. you know you,
Mhm.
you need that, or go to they detailed us to the counseling unit for 2 weeks at a time. Took one guy, you report to the counseling unit every day.
That's
um,
interesting because you didn't really back then. You didn't really that wasn't really as big as it is today.
no,
That's
no, that's
interesting.
when it started, I believe. That's when it
Okay.
started. They assigned a counselor to our firehouse because we lost so many guys, to report there
Mm.
every day.
Well,
And I remember this guy, I can't remember his name. He had contacted me recently. Um, and he asked, he said, what should I do to get through to these guys? Because guys didn't want to talk. And I,
no.
and I say guys because, when I got on the job, it was 99% guys. So, I use the term guys. I mean, guys and gals, women, but it was all guys in my firehouse.
Mm.
Um, they don't want to talk. They're not going to share their feelings.
Mhm.
And I was lucky enough to have dealt with an organization, Marriage Encounter, with my wife. We used to give talks and share feelings. So I was very comfortable with it. In fact, the officer asked me to call all the widows every day I worked and
Oh
just
God.
give them an update. Nobody wanted to do that. Nobody wanted to get on the phone with them. They were too nervous. Like, what am I going to say? We didn't find them. We're not. And I came close to some, and because of that, I would just call and say, "Hey, is there anything we could do? We don't have an update. We have no update for you. Is there anything we could do? How you doing? That kind of phone call." Um, so I remember though on day two running into Jimmy Sanders. Jimmy Sanders worked with me in my first company, Ladder 12, just like Vinny Plover did, the guy in the police horse van. And I remember seeing him, it was on the 11th, standing on a grassy knoll across the street from, I don't know what a knoll is, but it seemed like it was a knoll, across the street from the buildings with his hook and just kind of standing there with his covered in dust. And I noticed him and I walked up and I gave him a hug. And we didn't say anything. I just think we would have cried if we said anything, you know. And he just looked at me, and the only thing he said, and then I walked away, like maybe take care. He said, Johnny, we took such a hit. We just took such a hit, you know. And yeah, I'm crying now. Um, and that's all he needed to say. There was nothing else to say. There was nothing that was going to make either of us feel better. I had to get back to do what I was doing. I'm sure he had to get back. He was just taking a blow for 5 minutes. Um, but it was very poignant moment because it was just one of my first pauses to think about what just happened. You know, you were in tunnel vision, you were on the pile, people are yelling at you, you know, you're handing stuff back, getting the McDonald's hamburger, handing stuff back, doing what you're doing. A year later, I drove. I was the regular. We call him chauffeur. In FDNY, the guy who drives the truck,
Mhm.
he had a very big hazmat truck, and a second one that was smaller. And I didn't drive the trucks on a regular basis. I wasn't the regular chauffeur. So a year later, now I'm driving the big truck, and I'm going out of the firehouse, and I was like, you know, the officer would usually. One officer said to me once, you know what, I want to turn off the siren. I mean, people are passing us, Larocchia. Can you move it? You know, you go through the Midtown Tunnel with this truck. I'm taking out all the cones in the tunnel. So I get in the truck, and the captain says to me, "You look a lot better than the last time I saw you." I go, "What does that mean? When did you see me last?" He goes, "On 9/11. You know, we were digging together on the pile." I go, "Cap, I wasn't with you on 9/11. I never saw you." He goes, "John, we were together about an hour. We had a whole conversation." I go, "Cap, I don't remember any of that." And it's amazing how much you blacked out just to try to do what you had to do. And I think it goes back to me being afraid of heights, me being not too brave. For some reason, in my simple mind, it's a very simple mind, I said, this is my job. So whatever you have to do to get through all those fears and all that stuff,
Mhm.
you need to do. And when I got home on the 12th, because I stayed down there from the 11th to 12th. I slept maybe 2 hours in the community college on a cot, went back out, drove home, stopped at my best friend's house, Tommy Gardner. And when I do my show, I have his picture because we used to do a radio show. Um, I said, I got to stop at his house. And then as I pulled up, I go, what am I doing here? What am I going to say? What am I going to say to his wife? You know? And thank God she wasn't home. That's
Mhm.
the way I felt. Thank God I did what I had to do and stop by. And thank God she wasn't home. And then when I got home and I got out of my car and my family came out of the door, it was like I pushed myself those last 2 days to that point, and then I just collapsed on the lawn. I just collapsed onto the lawn. They had to carry me in the house. I was mentally. It was more, I think, mental than physical. You know, the physical was a lot, obviously, but it was just more mental. Like, what did I just see?
Mhm.
What did I just do? You know, and it's and I'll tell you a funny story is people were wonderful. They were sending in stuff from all over the country for firefighters, cops, EMS, right? So they opened a warehouse and they put a woman in charge and they said, "Listen, give this stuff out fairly." You know, so she made a mark who was there, whatever. So we pulled up one day. We were in the city. We stopped by. Let's get some free stuff. Because what's a firefighter's blood, right? It's free. It's for me. You know, they have like can openers that were an axe. And my wife goes,
That's cute.
you don't drink. What are you going to do with this axe?" Like, "It's free." I don't know. It was free. So we go one day and she says, "Oh, I got these winter hats." I go, "Ooh, that sounds nice." She goes, "They look nice and warm. The only problem is they're in the color and the shape of fruit, bananas, cherries."
Oh, God.
So the captain looks at us and he goes, "Guys, don't touch those hats." I don't want you wearing those hats on the truck. Do not touch those hats. We're like, Cap, what are we gonna do with those hats?
Oh,
At one point,
morale,
somebody,
Captain.
yeah, at one point somebody distracts him. You know, we're gonna get the hats, right? So the next run off the truck that we knew we could wear them, you know, something that was minor, whatever. Everybody comes off with a different fruit, right? He hits the ceiling. I told you guys not. And the one guy with the orange looks at him and goes, Cap, aren't you glad we took him? Right? And it was one of the first times we laughed. It was like one of the first times we laughed. And it was like, oh my God, should we be doing that? Should we be laughing? And then it was like, that felt really good. That felt really, and we would include the guys that we lost in jokes. We would say something, you go, you know what Dennis would say here? You know what Tommy would say here? You know? And for months we would include them in our humor without
Mm.
really realizing it just because we missed them and they were funnier than us and they would have said this, you know. And it was, and that's when it hit me. What a great way to remember them. I'm a comic already through laughter. They made me laugh. Enough with the crying, enough with the tears. You know, I wouldn't want that for my family 2 years later crying. Let's
Mm.
start to laugh again. So, the screenplay, it's written, is A Time to Laugh Again. It's about a few of the things I just said and you know, the stories. And the foundation is Laughter Saves Lives, laughtersaveslives.org.
Mm.
You know, the TV show is Laughter Saves Lives Live because you know, laughter is important to save your life, to get you on a path of recovery, um, even when you don't think you're ever going to get there. You know, you can get there. You can get there. If I and I'm gonna say, if I and some of these guys could get there after losing all of these guys, I feel like I have a message to give. You know that
Yep.
yes, you gotta cry, depressed, whatever you want to do for a while, do it. And then for your family, for your friends, for yourself, get back out there. You can do it because that's what they would have wanted. I know that's what they would have wanted. You know, and that's what I always say. I go, if I didn't do this foundation and remember them through laughter and did nothing, and when I get up there, hopefully I'm going to heaven, they would kick my ass. You know, hey, we're not here for our families. You're here. You better do something good, buddy. You know, and I always remember them. You know, through laughter.
You know, it's funny. I'm like, for those that can't see, like, I'm also doing a video recording on this, but I'm
Mhm.
watching you, right? And you just light up. You just lit up. You went from, crying a little bit, just kind of talking about it because it's a hard thing that you went through and everybody went through. But just to see you light up talking about like how, pardon me, I curse, so forgive me for cursing on this one.
That's okay.
But like the amount of shit the guys would have given you and that you could just piggyback off of that and create this special mission off of that, like that's cool, dude. And I just seen you light up, man, literally
Oh
light
no, it's my
up.
passion. It's my passion now. You know, I just I don't, you know, I don't make money on all these shows. Personally, I'm not making any money from the foundation. I don't
Mm.
pay myself. I would love to get a huge sponsor and do that, but right now I don't. If I do a comedy show for the foundation, under the foundation, I cover my expenses. I don't take any money for myself. I pay my comics um, because it's what I said I would do. You know, I said I would remember my guys through laughter. So, hey, listen, if somebody wants to hire me to do a birthday party, whatever, yeah, I charge them. That's under my own business. But when I'm doing this show at the for the Billy Moon Foundation and Paws of War and all these other charities, what a great night! There's so much love in the room, so much laughter. Um, it's a great night.
I'd
Just
love
a,
to get you down here to Texas to come do some comedy for us. I got
what
a
part of
few.
Texas? What part of Texas?
We're in the Dallas Fort Worth
Yeah,
Metroplex.
I'm coming back down.
If
I'm coming
you
back
maybe we could do
down.
a good marriage or plan something with one of our favorite foundations down here and get a few of them
Yes.
together to help support you or something.
As soon as I hang up, I'm gonna put your information down and I'll get in touch with you. And because I'm trying to schedule it for April. We were supposed to come down in September,
Okay.
but things didn't work out. But I'll tell you a great story about Dallas and the foundation. I was teaching for Homeland Security because I'm very smart too. People don't think I'm smart. So I'm going out to Dallas and I call Salerno and I go, hey, I'm coming. This is like 10 years ago. I'm coming out. find somebody we could do a show for.
Mhm.
So he finds this firefighter who was electrocuted. I think it's Louisville. Is there a Lewistown,
Yeah, there's a
Louisville?
Louisville.
Okay.
Hmm.
Louisville, electrocuted, lost his job, uh, can't work, young child, just married or married. So we go down and we do this show and had all his guys there, all his friends, laughing. I give him some cash after the show. This is for you, you know. Oh, John, thank you so much. So come home about 2 months later. Now we don't have the kind of money to pay mortgages or anything like that. That's what I want to strive for, that I can leave a town
It's
and go
huge.
hurt, feel better, take 6 months. We're paying your mortgage for 6 months. That's going to be awesome when I find that sponsor. But right now we pay an electric bill, we pay a car payment, we do a little something, right? So I call him a few months later, and I'm not going to say his name, but let's say his name was Dell. That was another guy we helped. But let's say his name was Dell. And I call his Dell, how you doing? Now you know firefighters, cops, military. You say how they're doing. What's the first answer? Great. I'm doing fine.
Fine.
Right? And I go, really? I go, listen, I wanna pay another payment on your car. And I hear silence. And he starts to cry. And I go, what the frig are you doing? I go, I'm calling you, make a car payment. What are you crying on me for, right? He goes, you don't know how much I needed this money today. See, I'm gonna cry at myself. He goes, this is one of the first times I said, I'm doing it. I'm doing what I set out to do. He says, John, you need to know you're making a difference. And when he said that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I'm doing it. You know, because you lose sight of that sometimes with all the other stuff with the foundation and shows and setting up equipment and
That's awesome.
now fast forward, I go out. I was out there last year. We do 3 shows. Last show was at a brewery. You know, working with Solano, some other comments. You know Jamie Gravitt, Jamie Gravy.
Heard the name, yes.
Oh, he's the best. He came. He
Yes.
was in New York for a few years, and I took care of him when I was up here. Solano told me.
Okay.
So he's a great guy and funny, funny, funny. So I'm setting up my shirts before the show, you know, and this guy comes walking up to me, big freaking guy, and he sticks out his hand and he goes, John, how you doing? And I go, I'm doing pretty good, but I'm a freaking idiot. Who are you?
I'm gonna
And he
start
goes,
using that
"Man."
one.
He goes, "Man, the guy that was electrocuted, you did the show for me, didn't you?" I go, "Oh my God, you look great." He goes, "Yeah, my wife and I own a business now, a catering business. You know, I'm still going to physical therapy, but I'm doing good and all that stuff." I said, "Man, you look great." So he says, "Listen," he goes, "I want you to come back next year, and I want to do a show at my place, and I want to raise money for 2 charities, Laughter Saves Lives and this other charity. Can't remember the name of it, because you were the only 2 charities that helped me when I was at my lowest."
Hmm.
Oh my God, is that full circle?
That's amazing.
Is that so? That's why we're going to go back. We're going to do it at his place and raise some money. He hooked me up with another charity. I'll tell you the name of it, you know, when we talk about the show.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
yes, I definitely want to come back out.
Let's do it. That'd be super special because we'll have firefighters that come through the gym every now and then,
Mm,
you know, whether injury or this or that or what have you. And
yeah,
there's a lot of really cool organizations out here. I think it'd be a really good marriage
yeah.
with you
And the
guys and
key,
stuff.
the
But
key is getting an organization that'll draw, but also getting some nice
for
sponsors,
sure.
you know, and getting me a free hotel room with a pool. That's my that's my thing.
No
I need my
promises,
pool.
but no promises. But I know we've got a lot of people in the community that I'm sure would love to house you or
Yeah,
make that happen for you.
we'll figure it out.
Um, man, before I let you go, I want to read your mission statement on Laughter
Sure,
Saves Lives. Is that cool?
sure.
I'm going to read it verbatim.
Go ahead.
Uh, so the mission of Laughter Saves Lives Foundation is to provide assistance to first responders trying to overcome financial hardship due to an unforeseen tragedy or illness. These first responders are the silent heroes who do not hesitate to put their lives in harm's way to help others in an emergency, excuse me. Laughter Saves Lives will focus on the stories that do not make the front pages in the media, yet these individuals and families need our support. That's pretty freaking cool.
We try to shine a spotlight on those people who are kind of forgotten. You know, the thing
Yeah.
happened this guy got electrocuted, and it was a few years later, and you know, it wasn't in the news. Money wasn't rolling in. one of our first ones was a firefighter from Boston, outside of Boston.
Mm,
He worked at the university and was in a car accident with a student late at night, head-on collision. He went through the windshield. Was actually they had to cut him out of the engine.
jeez.
That's how bad the accident was. And this guy was
Jeez.
broke almost every bone in his body. So we drive up there. We're going to do the show. We're going to stop by the hospital first. And we actually, I don't know what we used at the time because it was a long time ago. We zoomed the show to his hospital room and just kept busting his balls during the show. It was so fun, just kept mentioning. But I pulled in there and he's laying in the bed, legs are up, arms
Like
up,
full
everything's
body
broke,
cast. Poor
And I
guy.
woke up to him and, how you do, whatever. And he looks at me and he goes, John, he goes, I'm honored that you're doing this show in memory of your guys for me today. He said, I really feel honored. He goes, listen, um, if we make a lot of money, where can I donate some of the money? Here he is. He's laying in the bed, feet up. Every bone in his body is broken, and he's asking me where he can donate some of the money. So I look at I look at him and I go, "Hey, stupid." He goes, "What? What?" I go, "This is for you and your wife. Take your wife away when you're feeling better. Whatever you need to do. You're not donating any money." All right. Um, but that's a veteran firefighter cop. That's their mentality.
Hmm.
Well, I'll give you one more. It's really not involved with well, it's kind of involved with the foundation because I'm trying to do something with blood donation.
Hmm.
Captain Ungaro from Squad 288, 9/11 cancer. I visited him in the hospital on his deathbed. He died a few days later. He was bad. And it's the first time I visited him. He wasn't one of my officers. I wasn't very close with him, but I felt the need to visit him. And I walked into the hospital bed. His family was there. And I go there and he looks at me and he goes, he knows I do all the fundraisers. And he goes, Johnny, we need to do more for blood donations. He says, he's on his deathbed. We, he said, when a firefighter needs blood, there's a line outside the door of this hospital. When
Hmm.
the average person needs it, it ain't happening.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what I wanted to do was some kind of comedy show where you donate blood, you get free tickets, maybe into some kind of raffle where you could win like $500, something where we could really get some people, the Captain Vinny Ungaro, Laughter Saves Lives, blood donation show, whatever. So I just happened to give blood. The Billy Moon Foundation had a blood fundraiser.
Oh, nice.
So I go to give it the check, and as I'm walking in, I was going to donate blood, but as I'm walking in, I look at her and I give the check. We take pictures, and I look at her and I go, "Are you going to let me leave without donating blood?" She goes, "No,
Get in the
sit
chair.
down over there." Like well, I was going to donate anyway.
Oh man.
So
That's a great idea. That needs to happen. There's always a need for blood.
yeah.
Always.
Yeah, and shame on
Um,
me because they were calling me. I made an appointment. I couldn't make it. It's been too long since I donated blood. I wasn't.
mhm.
I wasn't really proud of myself. But when she goes, when I was leaving, they give you a date for your next donation. That's smart. That's smart.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I need to go back. I've made it a point myself because my little sister, when she was born, they saved her life with blood, blood
yeah,
transfusion. And I'm
yeah,
like, man, I'm gonna do that.
yeah.
And it's I'm talking before I let you go. There's something I do want to
Sure.
tell you. I'm talking to you, and I'm thinking of like everybody that I know here in the DFW Metroplex, especially firefighters. And I got a buddy of mine. He has a podcast too. He's doing big things. He was a or is a Marine Corps veteran. He was at the Battle of Ramadi, which is like one of the worst battles.
Uh-huh.
And I think he's in an LT now at a firehouse. But anyhow, a couple of years ago, he actually went out on a call, and the victim was actually their captain from the firehouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And they lost him. Like it was a big just
Oh, man.
mental shit show, for lack of better terms, for these guys and him. And I know he's been doing really good things since then and really trying to keep his memory alive and honoring him. And
Oh no, this would be, I
I'd
mentioned
love
it
to
to the
connect y'all.
family and they were behind it, but now it's been a few years, so I don't want to approach them until I have all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
I spoke to the lady from the blood thing 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Here's what I want to do," and she goes, "Yeah, yeah, we'll work with you. We'll, do what we got to do." So that would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just getting you connected with some guys down here.
All right.
What I think maybe after all this we can sit down, maybe brainstorm, see if that's something you're interested in when you come down, or if you want to make another trip or whatever that looks
Yeah,
like.
well, no,
You
we
know,
could set up a Zoom with the key players, and
yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about this on. But um, what I want to tell you is, when I do podcasts, like this, it helps me. It's very therapeutic. You ask me my story or whatever, um, it helps me because it makes me remember where I was, how far I come, how far I need to come, and one thing that I just want to say out there to all the responders or whatever, you need to talk. You need to talk after something like this. You need to share your feelings. Go to a professional, talk to family. I am back in therapy through the World Trade Center program, believe it or not. So
Really?
taking care of us. I had a cancerous lump removed over here. That was been 10 years. Still on top of me, still call me.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but talking is so important. So, don't after 9/11, because I shared my feelings so much when I went to the counseling unit, and they said go down for 2 weeks, and I showed up every day. And after the 2 weeks, I'm going, should I come down? And they're going, you're doing okay. You don't have to come back tomorrow, because I knew the importance of sharing your feelings. You know, it's important. So I'm still doing, and I said to my therapist last week, I said, don't be insulted. I go, there's only one thing that helps me more than therapy. It's my pickleball night on Mondays. Choose, if I had to choose between the two, you're out. I'm going to pickleball. You know.
Hey,
Um,
it's not traditional therapy. It works.
it works. It works. It works.
Oh my gosh, John. Well, I have one last question, actually. I almost
I have
forgot.
one last answer.
I do have one last question. I was
Yes.
looking at some video thumbnails of you.
Uh-huh.
Hadn't clicked on the video yet, but I saw you where you were standing inside the 9/11 memorial,
Oh,
the museum.
this is a great
What,
story.
tell me, what was that like for you? I don't want to stop without covering that because I thought that was super brave
This
of you to do that.
this was New Yorkers were not going, and probably still not as much to the museum. It was people from out of the country, people from out of town. New Yorkers did not want to go to the museum.
Fair.
So they put on an ad campaign called Our City, Our Story. This is our city, and it's our story. Go to the museum, so to speak. So Rosie Perez was the main actress in it,
Okay.
and I as an actor auditioned for two commercials that week. I was doing one was a $50,000 whatever commercial, national commercial, and the other one was a few $100s for the World Trade Center. And I didn't do it for the money. I lost money on it because I brought my family in or whatever. So I got the commercial, and I called my wife and I go, "Hey, I got the commercial." She's like, $50,000. I go, "No, not that one." So they shot me at the Fire Academy, at the Brooklyn Promenade, which is oversees the skyline, the downtown Manhattan. Walking along there, talking, and the last shoot was at the World Trade Center Museum. No, I hadn't been there yet. I hadn't been there yet, and it was empty. It was after it closed.
Oh,
There's
damn.
nobody in the place but the small crew and my family. So when I walked in, I told him, I said, listen, this is tough. This is a little tough for me. I said, I wanted to do this because I'm honored that you chose me. I hadn't seen the museum at all. They go, listen, walk around. Do what you got to do. Take your time. So
Oh
walked around the museum. I came back. So they shot the commercial. And then what they did was they broke it into individual commercials. I was in the Rosie Perez commercial like quickly, but then I had my own commercial as a firefighter. They had a teacher. So then you and the commercial with my family next to me, I'm like, this is my city. It's my story, right? They didn't tell me it was going to be a print ad also. It was all over the subways. Me standing
Wow.
there like this. I was getting text messages every day from people on the trains. Why do I got to look at your face firefighters, why could they have a handsome guy do this? Whatever. You look like somebody from the mafia. But what an honor. to be chosen to do that. And if you probably could, oh, you said you probably could find it.
I saw it right. It's on your website. I just didn't
Yeah, on
click on
YouTube.
it because I saw it right before we jumped on. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, shoot, I missed this one.
It was very well done. It was very well done.
What was that like for you to walk through the museum and actually see, like, almost like here it is again kind of moment, right? What was that like for you?
It was overwhelming. The thing that I think they did with the museum is they didn't overwhelm you. Even though I said it was overwhelming, obviously it's going to be. They give you time to think. You're walking through, you read this, you look at that. Then it's kind of, you can think a little bit. Everything is not like, oh, look, here's a truck. Here's this, here's that. And I've been there now probably 4 or 5 times. I've taken people there. I took my German relatives there with my wife, who's German, half German, and they came from Germany and they wanted to go. So they said, would John go with us? So my wife said that, they have a tour because I started talking to them when I got in just because telling them stuff, my story, and as we walked in, and my wife said, they got a tour in German. And they go, oh, no, no, we want to hear John tell the story,
Hmm,
which was so, it was such an honor because it's like, everything is in memory of my guys. I'm telling this story because they can't. So I'm going to tell it. Um,
that's awesome.
yeah. So it was really interesting the first time I was in there.
Well, I went one time, but we didn't go inside because the line was very long.
Yeah.
Because touristy here, right? Texan.
Yeah.
So I never went in. I never got a ticket to go in. So maybe next time I'm up in New York City, I'll call you. Be like, John,
I would love to
would you
take
be
you.
up for this? And if so, like, I'm here.
I'd be up for, and did you go up in the new tower?
No. So I went, it's so weird. I was there, I got sent there when I was in the Coast Guard for the third anniversary of 9/11.
Nope.
Are you
We're
there?
being cut off.
Yep. Nope.
Can't hear
Nope.
you.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
Yeah.
So no, I was there for the third anniversary of 9/11.
Okay.
And oh, there it says. Okay. So I remember when it was a big hole,
Yeah.
and then when they actually put the memorial, everybody's named engraved around the water fountains. I've never been up Freedom Tower though. I just never made time for that. I've been in New York City a couple times. So it looks like I've got some stuff to do next time I'm in New York City for
And
sure.
you have a friend in New York.
I do. I might be going in December, but I don't know if I'll have time to be. I'm going for an event. Don't know if I'll
Uh,
have time to do all that stuff, but if I can make time, I will, and I'll let
yeah,
you
maybe
know.
one or two things. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Well, John, man, thank you so much again for being on. Such a
Oh, I know.
special
I'm honored.
treat.
Thank you for choosing me to be on.
Always, always. And hang tight. I'm going to sign off of my listeners. I think this is a great time
Okay.
to kind of wrap it up and chat a little bit more after I wrap up with them. Cool.
Cool.
All right. Well,
Thank
there
you.
you there you have it, guys. There's John Larocchia. What an honor. An honor. Go check out his organization at laughtersaves lives.org and Laughter Saves Lives Live, correct?
That's on
TV
YouTube.
show.
Laughter Saves Lives Live is a TV show. The website for the charity is laughtersaves lives.org.
Yes, sir. And they can find you on Facebook and YouTube, correct?
Yes.
Got it. Cool. All right. Well, guys, I will see you next time. And until then, peace out. Dude, love it.
Oh,
Love
that was
it.
fun. That was fun.
I love that. John, thank you again, man. That was, let me stop this real quick.